Hey guys, whoa, there are people here, and sorry guys, I I didn't schedule this properly, so as you guys filter in, I will just I'll just see who shows up. It was my birthday. I'm sorry, I took a nap. I wasn't feeling good, and I took a nap in between trips to the fish shop. So I'm live now, and we're here to party for my birthday. so, fake name, thank you, and thank you very much to John Gonzalez. Somehow he left a super chat before the stream started. I didn't know that was possible, but thank you very much. That's awesome. The birthday money's appreciated. So, in this chat tonight, of course, as always, question and answer. If you guys have some questions, hopefully I have some answers. But what I wanted to do is just do a quick preview of what I'm going to be coming out with a video of, and it's a topic that's super interesting to me, and I decided to do it late tonight and not wait till tomorrow because of the fact that Corydoras in my lab in my in my house, they're all active right now at night after lights out normal time. So they kind of all come to life. And so I thought if I was talking about Corys, maybe we could see more Corys in my tanks if I did it at this time. Because I have about a dozen species altogether. Most I only have like 5 of in a tank, but there's a few like Sturbis, pandas, and Trilineatus that I have maybe a dozen of in each tank that they're in, or 10, something like that. But yeah, so first of all, I thought I'd share with you guys. I think I'm going to do some art and shirts and maybe like merch for the channel, but finish this up in late December. And I've been thinking a lot about Corydoras, and I was thinking maybe doing like the front of a shirt with this and the back with this, or the other way around, whatever. I don't know, but some of the fish art that I've been doing like that, and I just thought maybe that would be fun. I know Lucas Bretz also is considering using some of that art that I've been doing like that, and I've probably got he's got one more shirt ready from me, as well as a poster other than the Mad Scientist one I did for him. So, yeah. But I thought I'd show you a couple other ones while we're sitting around here for a sec as people filter on in, because it's a little bit of a late night. Also, I was hoping with the late night that maybe we got some folks that are overseas or something like that. Oh, okay. Great question, fake name. What's up, Halcyo? What are they doing? What's up, Reels Tanks? Hello. So come on in, everybody. Hello. So fake name has a question which says, "Does Glosso produce seeds? I've seen some for sale on Amazon. Kind of wanted to try the dry start method. Also, I'm interested in the art. I had right, the art you mentioned before about the salmon. I'm so sorry. I have really bad short-term memories with certain things. Like for some reason, interpersonal things, I have a hard time names and stuff like that, phone numbers. But I can remember fish for some reason, like dates and things that I'm watching videos on and seeing pictures of. I'm remembering better, but I am having a hard time with certain things. But I will get back to you on that fake name. I'm sorry about that. I said I was going to ship him some pictures, and we were just talking about sizes and stuff. And he's in Canada, so it makes shipping a little trickier. Also, I was going to say that your question about glosso is a great one, and it actually. So let me start by saying yes. Almost all plants, other than the bulb plants and the rhizome plants, are going to flower and have some sort of seed. Most of them do. Um, Now, whether that is the best way to propagate things is a whole other question. Yes, you can get. Okay, let me backtrack. A lot of the glosso that you buy online is not glossostigma that you're used to seeing in the hobby necessarily. There is another kind that is, it will grow underwater and it will create a fabulous carpet for 3 to 5 or 6 months. Then what happens is it all dies. It all dies off because it's a seasonal thing when it's from seed rather than from a culture that's, I guess, I don't know if it's something about the internal clock or it's just the actual varietal of seed. But I see it for sale for like 50 cents or, $1 for a million seeds or whatever it is that fits in a jar. They're really teeny little seeds. Um, and yeah, you can use that and do a dry start method with it. I think you can even wet start the seeds too. Um, but they're going to float all up and be growing off of all things. Oh, right on. Sturgio bacolas. I don't know if I'm saying that. Or Sturgeois bacola. I don't know how if French. But thank you for joining us from London. So, yeah, so that glosso that is for sale in seed form looks great. It'll be great for a little while, but you have to find a way to get it all out of your tank, or you just see a huge ammonia spike. And a lot of people have had like all their fish die, all their other plants die, especially if it's a small tank and you used it and it's a thick carpet that's, like this. Cory Venom we're getting to for sure. And thank you for joining in. Helsio asked, how do you dry start? So I'll do that real quick too. We'll go over that and then we'll jump into Cory Venom. Corydoras, toxin, poisons, venom, and I'll just show you guys them while we're talking about it, okay? Because right now they're going crazy because I fed them, and well, some of them I fed, others I have not fed. Depends on the species. Back to the dry start method. So what you do, let me flip this off of me. So what you do is with your tank, you would set up all your hardscape, your dryscape, and then you'd put your plants that are in immersed form as they come from like nurseries and things, which is how you buy them frequently actually. This is a super overgrown tank. I'm going to trim it and I'm going to do a time-lapse video of that trim, I think, is another thing on the agenda this week. Here's some Corydoras pandas, the newer species with the longer back tail from the Matei River. But in any case, yeah, so you would dry start it. You can Google it, but just a quick overview for those curious who asked. You put in your substrate, active substrate with a fertilizer in it, and then you just put either seeds or actual plants. You don't want to take a plant that's from underwater, but you can use things like Anubias and like hardy plants or their immersed form before they become submerged. You can look up the difference if you're confused by what I'm saying. But you take the immersed form of the plant and you spray water all over the terrarium. What most people do is they take a bowl of water, set that in the aquarium, which is a terrarium at the time, and you put a heater in that water to just keep it humid in the aquarium, and then you put saran wrap or something of the like on top. And so basically you get this humid, warm tank that you're pounding with light. You can develop fungus and mold, but the upside is you can get a carpet growing from seed or even tissue culture. It grows in the CO2 of the air, of the atmosphere, that is. It has much more oxygen and CO2, and so, yeah, it allows it to grow. The other thing, but I can do a whole video on the dry start method. We'll do that another time. But great question. Hey, Bentley, how's it going, man? Sorry about the power outage. That is some rough juggling of fish you got to do for that, man. And also, Adonia Strongman, how's it going? So, I wanted to show everybody the new Cory before we start this talk, because it's fitting. I'm going to show you guys some venomous Corys. So, this is my new type of Cory. The other night, if you recall, we could not find one to even look at. Now the colors are not fabulous here, but you can see that this is, a Corydoras. This is Cory venezuelas, and it's, I believe it's C 123. Don't quote me on that though. But I'm going to tell you guys about the CW numbers. We had a wonderful speaker come, and also, oh look, there's a baby, teeny tiny yellow, Sakura yellow shrimp from Lucas Brett's on the glass right next to the Cory. But you guys remember how badly these guys flip out, and that's a good place um, to start. Techno Allah, hello. Good morning to everybody overseas. Come on in. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on my birthday. Doing this stream later at night because that's when my Corys are out. I like to party with my Corys out. So basically, these are some new ones that I bought. They have an interesting hump. They're a newer species. And when they were naming Corydoras, they named them in Latin, obviously, for many years. And after naming them in Latin, the hobby began to get to the sites quicker than formal science could. And that led to all sorts of wonderful fish entering the hobby, just like with plecos. And by the way, this spot is a beautiful emerald green with like a slate grayish blue sparkle to it. And then the other color it's scared right now is actually a bright orange when they're happy. And this is Corydoras venezuelas or Venezuelas. And so when they were naming them, the hobby got ahead of the scientists, and everything that is named, like if you've seen a Corydora that says C10 or C20, that's because DATZ magazine, spelled DATZ, that you'll see. It's from Germany. It was a very influential magazine in the hobby, and basically those were the people who ran the magazine were very interested in kind of putting together lists for plecos, which, by the way, I have a male green dragon longfin guarding a cave, which is really nice. Hopefully they spawned. I just moved them into that tank and did a cold water change 3 days ago. But with plecos, they use, they use other acronyms for plecos too, and that is from the same magazine. So, if you have a pleco, when you say I've got L357 or L 128 or L 138, that's referring to a special type of pleco that hasn't been listed by science yet. Now, once it gets a scientific name, it gets it gets stuck with the scientific name, maybe a common name, but oftentimes now common names are coming out before the scientific names because sometimes you'll have something in the hobby for an entire, decade before scientists get around to naming it. Things like that go on with rainbow fish and all other fields of fish. But particularly, there are over 777. It's actually 778 now. We had a great speaker, so I just wanted to acknowledge him one more time. I got the pleasure of showing him around town a little bit and chatting with him, which I just got to pick his brain, and him and I nerded out about Corydoras and Venom and toxins and catfish and woodcats, everything from red tail, whiptail to woodcats and pygmy Corydoras. So I just wanted to acknowledge that Eric Thomas from the University of the Pacific is the one of the men researching this, along with Ian Fuller. Sorry about that. And he's over in the UK, over in England. So basically, the fish were given names by DATZ magazine that were just C numbers. So that stands for Corydoras. And then later on, all right, you take care, fake name, and please message me again, and we'll get the salmon illustrations figured out for you. Halcyon, thank you so much for the birthday money. I really appreciate that. Of course, it will go straight back into the fish room. I want you guys to know that I'm also excited to say that I got a digital microscope. So my wife hooked that up for my birthday, and it's one of the little portable ones. So you can actually, and there's a trilineatus corydoras right here. A lot of people think these are Julii, but they're not. They have a pattern of a maze on their foreheads. And so I personally, and your local pet store or local fish store, even the best fish store that I've been to, I have only seen the wet spot label these correctly. Everyone else labels them as Corydora julii, just because a lot of people think that's what they are, because Corydora julii went off the radar for quite some time, collection wise. People didn't know where to collect them, and they weren't breeding them largely in the hobby. So these are one of the venomous species, definitely, and they're one of the stronger venomous species. But let's get back to the CW. Let me finish that real quick. So CW, when DATS magazine discontinued naming them and registering all that, keeping all that up online. And I think now there's a few different magazines that all the editors and things jumped over to. But right now, Ian Fuller is his name, and he is the one tracking all the Corydora stuff. He has his own website about Corydoras, and then he also actually has three, and then of course, Catfish Planet is the main one that he runs through and everyone else runs through. So that's nice and fun. But everybody who asked, please show us this Cory, please show us this Cory. Here's a look at it, and I think they're one of the really beautiful species. So how do we know, or why did it come up that Corydoras are venomous, or that they have a toxin of sorts? I'm just showing you guys the different colors in this guy, depending on the light being right on him or not. And hopefully we won't see a venom reaction in this guy. We don't know if these type are venomous, this species here. But we do know that, see, he's gonna freak out. These guys are really, really wild. They do not want to be caught, and up here in their tank, they definitely do not want to be caught. They're hiding in a ball of yarn up there. That's how badly they don't want to be caught. So I'm going to get them proper habitat. I'm going to get them a breeding slate, but I'm also going to put some sand and stuff in there. But right now they're kind of in quarantine up top. And they happen to be with some shrimp, which I don't mind if they eat a couple shrimp babies that aren't quick enough, honestly. You can see there's several shrimp babies, like I mentioned before, right here, which is great. Bongwater Aquatics. I don't know if I'd keep my fish that way, but you keep your fish however you like. And thank you for the well wishes for my birthday, everybody. Hold on one sec. Let me grab a light so I can show you just how beautiful this Cory is, and then I'll be done torturing the poor guy after this. So, this Corydora has a beautiful blue shimmer to him, and you can maybe, well, he's so faded out from stress right now that you can't really see the orange, but usually that top fin has a great orange color. And these guys, as I said, Corydoras venezuelas. So I'm going to put him back to the flock will go, and hopefully he doesn't poison himself or anyone else. And I say poison versus venomize, or, I don't know what word I would have used other than poison. But let me wash out those shrimp. See, I thought I was being wise, and so I put some female shrimp that were pregnant into a box here, my Sakura yellows from Lucas, which, by the way, he has the strongest yellow shrimp I have ever seen in my life. They are phenomenal. Even the males are like a bright, bright yellow. And they've got a line down their back. They're the gold line Sakura yellows. But yeah, so let me get this net out of here too, and maybe you'll see some quick little Corydoras swimming around. There, you saw how orange they are, maybe. Um, but yeah, so the difference, we got to go over this real quick, and I got to get the baby shrimp and stuff out of the net. Unfortunately, when you have baby shrimp in a tank, you can't just pull your net out and have no problems. All in that mulm in the bottom, there's always babies. So, bit of a pain, but whatever. It's also kind of why I have this tank set up as Spartan as it is because I really want to breed those Corys. And then I also up top have shout out to Bentley. I've got the Luke Roebuck blue paradise blue coloration. So they're the blue Hawaiian. Sorry, guys, I'm on a ladder and it just started. Crystal Shack Aquatics, welcome. Thanks again. Aquatic Arts hooked you up and gave you some awesome Neos. Oh, good. That is awesome. Good to hear. I'm gonna call you BA because this is got to be family friendly. I don't want to get demonetized on my birthday. I know that's silly. Don't have anything against you, buddy. But in any case, so you ended up spending over $120 and plan on getting way more. That's awesome. Just keep letting them know that you're using the code and everything. But shout out to Bentley. I'm also breeding these blue Hawaiian Moscow guppies. The male that he gave me is now fully mature and super beautiful, as are the two females. And then their brood are starting to color up and become mature, and then they've had another group also. So there's probably, oh, I don't know. There's probably 40 babies in here running around. 30 to 40 are hanging out in here, plus these adults, and they're just incredibly beautiful. Plus the yellow shrimp and all this just stuff hanging out. And hopefully, I'm hoping the shrimp can hide enough, but there's a good chance that a lot of these shrimp are going to get munched on by the Corydoras and by the baby guppies. You can see all the mulm in the water because I was chasing the fish. Plus, there's a ton of leaf debris in here. I've found with Corydoras to get them to breed leaf debris, and these are great mops. So if you make a mop, they lay eggs on that and not on the glass, and they tend to last long enough for the. So I did that also down here, and that's how I've been raising these Julii trilineatus, which means three-line Corydoras. Basically, they just, instead of laying a bunch of eggs all at once, they also will lay just a few in this tangle. It's so dense and so tangled. It doesn't look good, but it's so dense and so tangled that they'll lay like 5 or 20 eggs or whatever it is, not hundreds like they can, or 150. And those will hatch out, and they'll then have a way higher chance of surviving, and not intentionally breeding them, if you want to call it that, like intentionally, as in, okay, I want these guys to breed right now. But that's why I did the cold water change. Plecos and Corys are great to pair up. They eat the same stuff. The only thing is they produce quite a bit of ammonia between the two of them if you're feeding them heavy for breeding. And guppies and endlers can do that too. So I just do water changes probably once to sometimes twice a week, depending on if I test it. I test it when the load has changed significantly, and I just kind of leave plants growing. But let's get to the venom. That's what everyone probably wants to hear about, right? The Corydoras venom. Now, out of the 778 species recognized right now, there are at least 17 confirmed, tested, looked through, and found to contain venom. In the catfish world, there is nothing new about venom. Not everybody, but a lot of people, pardon for the interruption, but, and thank you to our moderator. Tonight we got Betsy in the house, and she is throwing up links. And so that would be, that's a great thing. Thank you so much, Betsy. And I would like to say hi to everybody who's popping in here, but I don't want to get too off track with my scatterbrain mind. But hello, whoa, wine, wet sleeves, and Technoala. And Technoala, yeah, get a hold of me and we'll talk about live fish and things like that a little later. A lot of the country is experiencing snowstorms and ice storms and all sorts of pains in the rear end right now, so I'm probably not going to ship out to most places, most things at the moment, but I will consider it. Also, here we got Corydora. Well, you had one for a sec. He's very shy. The Adolphus. I happened to hear this talk on Shabbat Shalom. Yes, thank you. I am not practicing, but I do have. Oh, you're in Auburn, Techno? Okay, yeah, totally. I'll sell you live stuff all day long then. Yeah, totally. Just message me. Um, where are where am I at? Reels Tank. I am in Seattle, Washington. And yeah. So, and by the way, thank you for the birthday super chats. That's really sweet. I'm hoping to buy a better camera, a new camera, and also I want to go to things like maybe like the Live Bears Association or um, the Aquatic Experience, something like that. Scott Baker, hello, thank you. So let's talk Corydoras again, back on track. Uh, Out of the 778 species, it is assumed that there are probably a bunch of venomous species. Maybe even all Corydoras may have some sort of, whether it's residual or still left venom, they may have it. Now, one really interesting thing, yes, Betsy, you did see Corydoras. I'm doing this at night, and I decided that last minute. That's what I was late. Sorry, guys. And it's my birthday, so I get to do what I want. Got it? Get it? Good. So, I'm doing it late because that's when all my Corys are out. They all want food. They all want bloodworms, and they think they've been good boys and girls, and they're gonna get bloodworms. But yeah, so out of the dozen species or so in my house, this is another one that I have a good amount of. These are Habrosis. They're not actual pygmy Corydoras, but I do have some pygmy Corydoras down here, and then the Trilineatus, and then up here there's a couple Adolphus. Up here we've got the Venezuelas, and then down in the dark tank, which is undergoing treatment right now for infection, we've got two types of Corys in there also. But I don't want to get you excited over nothing. And then we've got over here, let's shift gears while we talk about the Venom, because other than the Trilineatus, which that was the maze face looking little Cory that I showed you guys, it is we're turning out to see that the most venomous Corydoras happen to be some of the most common in the hobby, or some of the most beloved. These cute little panda Corys, and in here I have two kinds of panda Corys. So far, nobody has seen them breed interchangeably. One is the Matei panda Cory, the Matei Upper River from Colombia, and then the other one is a what is it called? Rio Atopico or Atopico panda. So there's different pandas, and one is like CW. It's really new, CW 130 or something, and um, the other one is I can't remember if it. I think. Well, its official Latin name. You might get the hang of this, or get a kick out of this. So the official Latin name of these guys here is Corydoras panda. So I really like that. I want to do a whole video on Latin names that are just ultra obvious, like painfully obvious or funny, but that's definitely one of them. Bongwater Aquatics, thank you so much for the super chat for the birthday. I really appreciate that. I will definitely be just adding to the menagerie to show you guys stuff and to continue some of the work. I'm trying to get in more into studying the fish that I keep a little more in depth and then sharing that with you guys. I've got a lot of projects more in the serious end of videos, if that makes sense. More of science, more history, and I have a whole journal notebook here of notes that are basically we're going to be touching on in the next few months or whatnot. Wow, you've got a lot of birthdays all at once, Woolwine. So people started noticing about probably 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that Corydoras, you'd put them in a bag, you'd chase them around with a net, and every once in a while, a little puff of cream-colored, like translucent, foggy some sort of mucus would come out of the Cory's armpit, for lack of a better word. Let's see if we can see a stir-by or some other kind Cory back here. So these are the other kind of panda Cory. I know it's very semantical, but they've been separated by a long distance, and these guys have a bigger black spot on the back of their tail. Plus, tail is way longer in the back. So these are the ones that are newer. These are the newer panda Corys. Well, there's an old one. But in any case, these guys happen to be very poisonous as well. And we have to decide what are we going to say out what are we going to say when we talk about the poison inside a corydora. So when we look at the corydora, let's get in close. This one's being calm. On the fin, that front fin, the pectoral fin, there is a little opening. If you can see that color between the white clear cartilage, that is an opening through the skin, like there's no protection there. It's a little hole that opens up almost like your mouth or an eyeball, like it's an open orifice into their body. And they, from that area right here, let's see, you can see it, it's like a pinkish reddish color, not their gills, but there's an actual organ right under that armpit that you can see in there. They have a little organ, and when you test that organ, believe it or not, even if it's a kind that nobody's ever seen spit out venom before, they have an organ there that is an organ for venom. So what gives? How are they using it? What's it made out of? We're gonna talk a little bit about that. I'm gonna make a video that hopefully has some more charts because we've been working with. I just started saying that I was going to help some folks who are researching this, and it's really tedious. There's computer programs to help, but basically, when they take that organ, they can grind it up and they can put it into a gas mass spectrometer and what do they call it? Basically, it's a fancy machine. Or GCMS is what they're called machines. Gas chronometry mass spectrometer, and they can analyze every element that's in the thing that you put in there. You can put a friggin' pie in there, and it'll tell you apples, carbon, nitrogen. I mean, you can work backwards from the elements, and so you know that there's a poop ring in a perfect circle. Odd the way the world works sometimes. But in any case, so the sensors have been able to pick out that, yes, we will talk about that in one sec, reels, tanks. So we have been able to pick up that there is a toxin in the Corydoras organ there. Now, there are lots of toxins in animals. So a toxin is just something harmful. The way, if you eat it in large amount or in small amounts, it is harmful. That is the definition. In large amounts, let me start over. Get my thoughts together. I need to stop reading the comments. That's what I need to do. So, a toxin is something that in small amounts is not necessarily deadly, but it can be harmful. It can make you sick, and in large amounts, it can be deadly. A poison is generally described as something that in small amounts will harm or kill you. And in large amounts, yeah, you're really screwed. but inside animals, they're either poisonous or venomous, and or neither. But poisonous means that when you eat them, they may secrete some sort of poison, or inside their body somewhere, there's a poisonous gland. That is a poison. That's a defensive poison, a passive system, as they call it in evolutionary biology. It's a passive poison that basically, until like another animal, let's talk specifically Corydoras. We think that it is probably a passive venom, that it at no point was used for hunting like a snake or something. So a toxin is something that doesn't have a delivery device of injection or wounding, and then placing in. I mean, technically, there's some in betweens, and that's actually where the Corydoras lie. They have a serrated. When you look at it under a microscope, and in the future video, I hope to just get pictures of this while I talk, because right now I'm just showing you guys, the cute, happy little Corys. But I could show you what I can see under my microscope. And now that I have a microscope, well, a digital microscope that can take high-res pictures and video, we can do that. If I ever have a Cory pass away, I'll be sure to do a vivisection of that creature, or dissection, I suppose is the proper term. But yeah, so the Corys are definitely, if you eat a Corydora, you will be sick, and so that makes them poisonous. Just like they are poisonous if you get sick from eating them. But when you have something like a snake or a spider or a wasp, when you have a bite or a sting, uh, Whispering Waters, thank you. This tank is actually going to get trimmed way back because you can't tell what's going on. You can't see half the plants or half my fish. Way more than half my fish you can't see. You can't see any of the pseudomagills, and there's like a nice group of them in there right now. Of the Aru2s, and then there's like 8 Danio species. So, wow, Betsy, you were bitten by a rattlesnake or a rattlesnack? Because a rattlesnack, if you were bitten by like a jar that had 3 crackers left in it, that would be interesting. Like it rattled when you shook it. Also, by the way, the Corydoras in the back are doing the T position, which I've described in other videos, and that's how they breed. Okay, back on track. Alex, stop rambling. I know it's driving certain people nuts in the comments. They say your live streams are crazy. I know, I'm a crazy guy. I'm a wild and crazy guy. But the Corydoras, they're both poisonous and arguably venomous. So, the Corydoras have the poison gland. It has toxins in it, and it has poisons in it. And there are over 349 compounds that have been recognized in those 17 species that have been examined closely. Now, there were 3 other species that had toxins, but not necessarily like intense poisons. But these cute little guys had a mixture of something like 170, and they just were full of venom. So same with the sturbi and the trilineatus. For a rule that you can apply to your cute pets, basically if it has an orange front fin or an orange, like the sturbis, if it has a yellow or orange colored spine or spike, which these actually do. If you look at the fin under a microscope, it's under a layer, but it's yellow. So there's something about this barbed spine on the fin. So all Corydoras catfish have spines, and they can prick you and they hurt. But if you guys have been pricked by a Corydoras, sometimes you can get pricked way worse than other times. And that has to do with the venom. That's where the word venom comes in. Arguably, when they are in the mouth of someone who's trying to eat them, they basically they take both their spikes on either side, on their fins, on their pectoral fins, and they dig them into the mouth of the creature, and then they spray a cloud of mucousy, foamy, sticky, it's like soap consistency venom right into the wound. And it's not an injection, so there's not a hollow tube, which is interesting. They didn't evolve to have a hollow tube. But the other interesting thing about the venom is Corydoras is an old lineage of catfish. There's 778 species right now. Probably more like 500 known, honestly. Some of them are probably color variations, but we're calling them that because they look different enough. Now, the ones we haven't discovered, there could be thousands. We really still don't know. We're just scratching the surface of exploring some of the deep Amazon and things like that. Uruguay and Bolivia and some of the places where we didn't traditionally look for these guys, but they have that venom gland in them. The sturbides, the trilineatus, the pandas, those three actually happen to be some of the strongest, which is kind of ironic to me that we keep them as pets so frequently. But yep, all Corydoras have spikes on their fins, and whether you knew it or not, they can get you. And so you don't want to reach into your Cory tank and just be feeling around like, oh, I need to get some moss, or oh, I need to get those skewers that I was feeding my plecos cucumber on, or whatever. Don't just reach in blindly and smash around, because you could be in a world of hurt. Back here, I hope you guys can see it. There is a stirby Corydora. Come on. Come on. And they actually have a bright gold or orange colored spine on their fin. So it's really apparent that they really put it out. No, it's not going to focus on YouTube. But they really put it out there that they are poisonous. So, and venomous. Now, there is another word that people are using, and that word is toxicant instead of venom. And so they say that they have a toxicant sting. And so there's also stings that just have lots of bacteria, or claws that have lots of bacteria, and naturally, like cats, evolve to have nasty bacteria under their claws in a hollow little space under their claw, and that hopefully will kill their prey later, and they can, in their feeding range, loop back around and get it once it dies from an infection. So kind of interesting. A lot of fish have these spines on the back or on the pectoral fins. Catfish notorious can have them both places. The fact that they're actually poisonous and or venomous is some new territory scientifically to be proven. Now it's been proven. What does this mean when you pick a Cory out? Well, one thing it means is that if you say you catch your Cory, you put it into a bag, put your Cory in a bag. What you may want to do if you have a ways for it to go or you're shipping it out is to put it in one bag, and you don't need to like freak it out, but just agitate the bag a bit. What you can do is you can take the bag and drop it just like onto the table, just softly like this, and that will scare them, and you can see if they're gonna release a venom. A lot of them never will do it, even if they have the gland and they're scared to death. They may not do it, but others will do it more frequently. And Eric Thomas and Ian Fuller both have caught photos, and one of them caught a video of it in action for the first time recently. So this venom comes out. You'll know it has come out in a bag if it's a small amount of water, because the water will turn milky and murky, and then the top will get suds. It'll get foamy, like when you put meds in your fish tank water, or when you put dish soap in water, something like that. And what you need to do immediately is pour out all that water, get fresh water, submerge them in that. If you see that happen, what you want to do is aerate the heck out of them, because the blood or the toxin in all these corydors attacks blood cells. They've figured that much out. Now the other aspects of their venom and their I guess you could call it a poison and a venom, because it's poisonous in the fact that they want to upset the stomachs and or kill birds and fish that eat them. So it's a thing where they learn not to eat them. So maybe one Cory dies, but in the long run, hopefully that organism, which had one in its mouth, got pricked in the mouth, and then got poison sprayed all over, and then got an abscess from that, and may have even, maybe they die even. It's kind of like a bee sting. It teaches other animals not to mess with them. My cat got stung by a bumblebee by eating it, putting it in his mouth. It stung him. The bee came out. Unfortunately, it died. But my cat for another 10 years was scared to death of a bee. Even if a fly hit the glass on the window in the house, he would hide. So the Corydoras, that's their defense, and it feels very similar to a bee or a wasp sting if they do use that venom. Now, most of the time when they prick humans, it's in a big enough body of water that you're not gonna get the venom straight into you. If you were to like push down on one and squish it totally, and it got you just right, it could spray that venom right into your cut, and then you'd have a world of trouble. Most people, however, if they get pricked by the Corydoras, or a woodcat. I got pricked by the my woodcats that I had, the orca-looking woodcats, the ninja woodcat, or I got pricked by that. So it's interesting, but in a big enough tank, and Eric Thomas, the guy who's studying all this, to think that it's probably something like 5 or 10 gallons of water is enough to diffuse deadly amounts of this toxicant. Now, Kevin, hello. Who else has snuck in here? I'll stop and take a minute to say hello to folks. Reels Tanks, James. Thank you, James, for the well wishes. Let's see here. Just reading through, make sure I didn't miss anything big that I need to address. Oh, wow. Bongwater Aquatics, that sounds really interesting. Kevin, alright, well, welcome everybody. So, yeah, don't be scared of your Corys. They have nowhere near the potential to kill anybody, unless maybe you're anaphylactically inclined from them. But it's a unique toxin. We know by looking at it, by putting it in one of those big machines that I talked about earlier, the gas chronometer mass spectrometry. Ugh, that's a long one. Relic Turtle, what is up? Welcome everybody coming in. Thank you again for the super chats. You tried to send a super chat. I think there's something wrong. I know there's been trouble before. Some people have gotten super chats through, but yeah, super chat I have trouble with sometimes. I really appreciate that. That's very kind. If you want to send it to like my PayPal, that's kind of presumptuous of me, but my PayPal is alexanderjwilliamson@gmail.com, or just my email that you guys can reach me at. And that's Alexander J, the letter J, Williamson, no spaces, no anything. But if you really wanted to, I do appreciate that, and you can send it through PayPal or Facebook through the group. You can find me and send it, whatever. But it's very kind of you. Thank you, Betsy. I appreciate that. So when I trim this tank up, I need to. Bob Kaler, I told him forever I was going to send him some things, and so hopefully I will trim this tank real soon. Upstairs, it looks like a bomb went off in one of my tanks, my littlest tank, It is insane. I ripped everything up and we're replanning, redensifying the tank, so that'll be interesting. Also, my super reds, which aren't so super red, they're more of like a peachy slight orange. Um, and they're getting old enough where they're almost going to be mature. They're right now they're about 3.5 to 4 inches, but they do have that super long tail. Their body is, for hand size. They're almost as long. They probably are about as long as my index finger with their tail. So, uh, thank you very much. I appreciate that, John James. Pounds, right on. I love see those pounds sterling. Are they still called pounds sterling? Oh, my Adolphus Cory is out. So here's a different Cory to stare at for a minute. But so what I was saying is they've identified a bunch of compounds in the venom, the poison, and we know that in the venom, if it goes off in a small container like this, with several Corys, it'll likely kill all the Corys in that water. It'll likely kill all the fish in that water. And that's a bummer. You're going to lose. Here we go. Here's some Corys. Sorry, guys. I know that may have made someone sick. But uh, here's a Cory sitting still. Let's see if we can see that venom gland on this guy or gal. So it sits right behind the armpit, behind the pectoral fin. Um, so yeah, basically we're trying to. I don't know. So as I said earlier, in case you're joining us now, this is not a Julii corydora. This is a anybody trilineatus. 3 lines, that's what that means in Latin, because it has 3 lines. And basically, the Julii corydores have spots. They're speckled all over in kind of a similar fashion, but they don't have that maze pattern on their head. Their black spot on their fin is actually slightly down. And yeah, so these are one of my favorite Corys, but as I said, they are looking to be, along with the sturbi, the most poisonous. Sue Judith, thank you so much for the super chat. That is very kind of you. I appreciate it greatly. Um, Thank you. That's awesome. I'm hoping to save up to buy a camera. I've got a lot of medical expenses. Obviously, I don't want to go on about that, but having an outlet like this channel then allows me to have a way that maybe we can save up and get things outside of the realm of dental work and surgery stuff and medication. But yeah, so you can see there under the armpit, there's a spot. Of course, it frickin' moved. There was a spot where it has that kind of it's hopeless. I'll have to do a longer video, guys. Sorry, but it can shoot the poisonous gooey stuff out of there, and probably a milliliter is enough to kill all the Corys in about a pint or probably a pint of water, if not up to maybe a half gallon. It's looking like probably a half gallon is closer to the amount that they release enough poison or venom to kill. Now, we call it poison when they just release it for being scared. Venom if they actually wiggle back and forth and jab you to put that poison in you. Histatus and Pygmaeus are both really adorable, Sue Judith, and those ones, we don't know if they're poisonous or venomous. Likely you'd say poisonous with them, because they're definitely, they're probably not going to, these are Habrosus here, but they're not going to be going out of their way. And none of these Corys do we have any evidence go out of their way to stab people or hunt, to hunt other fish or, meals. But their poison, it turns out, the markers that are found in that fancy machine that cost $500,000 I was talking about that they have at the university where Eric teaches, it turns out that we're finding that there are hemotoxins in the blood. Now, there are three types of main venoms in the world. I mean, there's more than that out there. There's endless kinds if you really want to get nitpicky about it. But in the catfish realm, there are more types of poison amongst Corydoras than all other catfish put together. Now, here is crazy fact that now we're finding is that Corydoras, that gland, has been analyzed, and not for what is in it, but just if it had a profile that matched a toxicant or a venom. And it was found that out of a few hundred types that they ran, just the organ, so this isn't proving it's this is just proving it's within its system. It is a poisonous catfish, but likely it has the ability, since it's in an organ, that has basically a sphincter that can open and close. And just like a bag of water, you know, when you constrict the front and you squeeze the back, you can spray that water out. That's the same as that organ. And they likely have a reserve organ. And in some of the catfish, some of the Corydoras, it's much, much more developed than others. So the interesting thing is now they are hypothesizing amongst several. There's 3 Germans that are studying it right now, and they are hypothesizing that the Corydoras have evolved many ways to distribute that poison or venom, and that they were not all from the same shared common ancestor. In fact, they were from different lineages that separately all developed the poison glands. Now, there's exceptions to that. There's definitely some that it appears are related lineages of Corydoras, and they are venomous and have similar traits in their venom. But within the Corydoras world, look at all these guys lounging back here. They've given up on begging from me. They're the smart older ones. Uh, Yeah, all of the Corydoras have spines and a bony outside. Well, not all of them have a bony outside. Most have a bony outside. It's kind of their definition, like almost all. And they have bony plate skin on the outside, and then they have spines. It's kind of what defines Corydoras, part of it. So let's go upstairs real quick and look at the tank that's a mess. But I just wanted to say, too, before I finish up talking about my teaser, which is longer than the final video will be by far, I'm sure. Uh, the the Corydoras have actually um, more types of venom and poison than all other vertebrates put together. Did you hear that? All vertebrates put together. This one family of catfish likely has more types of poison than them put together. So it's very, very specialized, complex toxins. And it's really, really an interesting field to open up, because obviously there's way more bugs and, you know, things that have it, but that means that there's more types of poison in Corydoras. That's neurotoxins, that's hemotoxins that attack the blood. Neurotoxins usually attack neural pathways or potassium ion channels, which is how nerves send signals and things like that. But I just wanted to show you guys how ripped up this tank is. Um, Basically, I'm going to be replanting it. It'll look beautiful. But right now, everything is floating because things just got so dense that I never saw half of the species that were in here, like my panda loaches. And the soil had gotten old like this, and so I'm replanting it. But that's the teaser for what I'll talk about in the future video, is that Corydoras have more types of poison like mechanisms than all other vertebrates have put together. Boggles the mind. With all the snakes out there, that's just insane to me that that's what they're finding. And, all the other catfish. There's a ton of other catfish also. So we'll take a quick look over here. And I need to turn off the CO2 for the night also. But this tank, the low tech tank, I just put some CO2 in because I put soil down. This is just not, I guess not really soil. It's ADA Amazonia Dark or Original versus the light that I have downstairs. And I am giving it CO2 for about 3 days for half of the day. So that's just to get it going. Whoops, sorry guys, I'm trying to zoom out. There we go. That's just to get it going. But you can see I've kind of put a lot of my crypts and some of my odds and ends, some of my rarer plants I've put in here. And I want to see them grow tall like these rotalas up here. So that's the idea. The Thor's hammer, how big it is, the pantanal that's floating away, and the yeah. So let's see here, and the boost over in the other tank that's in disarray right now. That is just, it's preposterous how much of a mess I made in this tank over here. All right, so I got to finish this up, but I really thank you for joining me on my birthday. I will do another video on the Corydoras and their venom, poison, toxicant, whatever you want to call it. And let me look and see if there are any questions. I will answer any questions that were previously needed to be answered. And then I have to hop off of here. I'm getting pretty tired again. Yeah, so all right, what questions did we have? Just retype them because I'm not going to go back and scroll through all of them, but if you can retype them real quick, hopefully I can answer them and help you guys out. Thank you, Betsy, for helping wrangle everybody. I know now we're getting more and more people in these chats, which is a good thing. You guys are all welcome here. I like it to be a community where you guys can ask questions and help each other out and all that. Facebook is a great spot for that too. There are other forums, but also there are, our forum, as in the Facebook group, The Secret History in Your Aquarium, is a great spot to get tips on things, ask for help, or just to share, like, hey guys, check this out, my so-and-so fish bred, or my shrimp are doing this. Whispering Waters, that's a sweet name. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Do I have any breeding tips for panda cories? Nothing, nothing in particular different than most cories. Other than that, the new panda cories like cooler water. They live in it year round. Like we're talking 68 degrees. They'll tolerate warm water. The source of the new panda cories is the upper Metae. I think that's spelled Maetae again, something like that. It's either Maetea or Meetae, something. Metae is how it's pronounced, but it's in, I believe, Colombia, most of the river, and it's a quick moving river. And they're not called pandas, the other ones, but people in the hobby are just calling them that because that's what they look like, right? So yeah. Also, I wanted to thank everybody for participating in the giveaway. The winners were posted in my last live stream. That live stream was garbage. I totally will admit that. I was really tired. I had 3 hours of sleep the other day. And so I apologize for most of it. But the beginning, I announced who won. And thanks, guys. That's awesome. Aquatic Arts, because so many people participated, we were able to give away more money to more people. And next time around, I think we can do it even bigger. So more chances for giveaway. So that should be really fun in the future and a good partnership. But yeah, so the Corydoras Mate, I think they're probably a CW number. As I said, DATS magazine has C numbers, and that was from 1990, maybe, or actually maybe 1988. This is either 88 or 93. I don't know why. I have those numbers stuck in my head. And then it went until like 2001 or 2002. And then everything after that has a CW. So like orange laser Corydoras, the hot new fad that's $50 a fish. They're really beautiful fish. But the green laser or the purple or the orange laser Corydoras, those are actually CW 010s. So you can tell how new a Cory is by that too. But what I do in general with Corydoras, they'll just breed a little bit on their own. Even in a tank with all these predators, I was trying to show you guys, there is a baby that I just noticed swimming around in here. Now I didn't add any new panda Corys, but there is a baby panda Cory swimming around back in here that I just saw, who's about yay big. So one egg survived out of a spawn, but that means that they spawned a little bit at least in here. So here he is, back in here. There's a little baby one. Let's see if we can get him to come out onto the other side. But yeah, what you do for Corydoras is very similar to plecos. You want to do a big cold water infusion after a period of feeding them. And then what you'll see is you'll see them swimming together on the glass, and you'll see the male and female get into what we call the T position. And that's when one's nudging the belly, the male's nudging the belly of the female. And these two seem to do it on the glass here frequently, but they don't actually lay the eggs. But that's an indication that you're doing something correct. If you see that they're active and they're moving around, they either want food or there's hormones in the water usually, or flow. They like playing in flow too. But basically, a lot of people will use slate. You can use glass, or you can use sand. Sand is another great one. In the wild, they either use rocks or sand to lay their eggs on. Their eggs are sticky, so they'll use, like, back in here, I'll find eggs stuck to the rocks, or right at the drop off of where the power head is back there. I'll find eggs once in a while. Usually they get eaten quickly in this tank though. But yeah, so let's see. I want to check, see if there's any other questions. Thank you, Betsy. There are discounts for Aquatic Arts and Flip Aquatics. 10% off all the time. If you haven't ever shopped at Aquatic Arts, 15% off. Plus, my friends there at Aquatic Arts have really been hooking people up. From what I hear, everybody's like, yeah, I ordered this and I got, extra X, Y, and Z. So that's really cool to hear. And they have great customer service. Their shipping is more expensive, so I would wait until you want to buy, $50 worth of stuff or something. And then that discount code will take care of the difference of shipping would be easily. All right. Let's see here. So I had a great mod tonight. Thank you, Betsy. Posted lots of great links also to the Facebook group. If you can't find the Facebook group, just do a search for Aquatic History, Aquarium, Secret, any of those words together, and you should find the Secret History. It has a slightly different name than this channel because of what was taken. But if you search by the YouTube channel name, you'll find it. There was another channel somebody started that was a fake version of this, I guess. And I don't know why somebody did that, but somebody tried to do that. Somebody also sent the Attorney General of Georgia on us, or me, for having this contest giveaway. Because, we gave away $75 to the second place, a $200 prize to the first place, and then third got $50, and fourth got 35. So that's a taste of what's to come in our partnership with with Aquatic Arts. I really like those guys. And so hopefully I'll keep working with them, getting interesting nano fish and things like that that I can show you guys. Also, my Daniel fry, I thought I'd let you know, are all up in here now. The tin winnies are all colored up and look like their parents. And then there are some other Danios in here that are real young that are scooting around somewhere, but they're little teeny fries. You can see one back there. They're really teeny fry, and yeah. So I hope that you guys have a great night. I will be doing another video on the like a shorter video on the Corydoras poisoning and stuff like that. Um, One more time, I thought I'd show you guys. This is the Trilineatus Corydoras, aka everyone thinks it's the Julii, and there is a mechanism at play in that venom gland in their armpit, right where the X is, actually right where this whatever is, this little curve. And we are still trying to figure that out. My question that I posed was, is there something in the diet of these catfish, plants, or maybe wasps or bugs, that allows them to be venomous or poisonous, just like a poison dart frog? We don't know the answers, but there are definitely plants with similar poisons in them, poisonous plants and berries. But yeah, like these, if you get stabbed, I just had a friend who works at Aquariums up in Seattle get stabbed by a stir-by, and it happened 2 weeks ago, and she's got a red mark palm still that welted up, and the center of it turned black and then died out, or like fell out. And oh yeah, the Whispering Waters, the link in this video is a dead link for some reason. It got cut off, but I can fix that. It's just this video automatically posted like a pre-written or a pre-written text for some reason when I post. It's like an old setting, but the real thing is right there. Betsy has it. So follow Betsy. Do as I say, not as I do. Do as Betsy does, not as I do. All right, you guys, thank you so much. The birthday super chats were really sweet. I appreciate that. Also, just so people know, I'll probably be adding these on Get Gills soon. These are the newest spawns of the strain that I've basically developed. I've put pictures on online of these guys where you can see them in better color than the terrible camera that is this one. But both these males are having lots of little babies, and their babies color up just rad. They have purple and leopard print and emerald green and blue, and they never focus. There we go. There you can kind of see it. So this actually starts at like a red and then goes to a orange, then a yellow, and then to a purple. So I've worked hard on this line. I don't know, generation in this tank is all generation between 10 and 13 now, I believe, are the youngest ones back there. So yeah, there's that. And then also I'll probably be putting up some of these blue spade tail tiger endlers. They started with Lucas Bretts, but he said if you got them all to be spade tails and they all have blue around the edges of their spade tails, you can call those your line. I'm still working out the kinks, and so I don't want to claim it yet. Some of them still have accidental tails, but it's about 70% of them turn out like these ones you're seeing here. So pretty good rate actually is turning out the way I want them to, and those will probably be available on Get Gills. Definitely for people in the area, but like nationwide later when the temperature warms up. All right, you guys. I hope everybody has a great night. Thank you for spending time with me on my birthday, and I think we're going to call it a night. If you have more questions that didn't get answered, drop a comment down below afterwards. Also, please feel free to let me know what you'd like to know about the venoms and things. I'm also breeding more fish down here at the moment. Uh, so if there's something I didn't cover today, but you'd like to see in the final video, which I'm gonna try to edit actually and add some footage and things like that of it happening in a bag. Let me know what those things are. If you're curious about a certain Cory, all that kind of stuff. We're learning more and more, and I am getting more engrossed in it and just interested by it. So, have a great night, everybody. Happy January the 19th, and I will talk to you guys uh, later. Take care, and again, thank you for participating in the contest, for participating in this channel, for being awesome, being kind people. We've had nothing kind members of the group and the Facebook for the most part, and helpful and positive. So let's keep it that way going into 2019. And I really appreciate you guys. And hopefully, I'll have some more history and evolution science type videos, as well as some aquascaping videos coming out shortly. And I'll talk to you guys later.